Are FCP and LCP slowing down your website? In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix that, so make sure you watch it all the way to the end because there's a bunch of different things you can try out to fix these issues in PageSpeed Insights and make your website load faster. Hi, I'm Bjorn from WPLearningLab. Now let's get started. We're back on our site that's hosted on InMotion. This is part of a 4-video series. This is the second video where we're going to look specifically at FCP and LCP, which this page is having some trouble with on mobile. On desktop, less so. The problem is content layout shift. That's for a future video. So for this one, look at the mobile FCP and LCP. What are those? They stand for First Contentful Paint and Largest Contentful Paint. And it basically means what is the largest part of the view frame, the viewport, which we're looking at right now. What's the largest part of this that's slowing down the load time? If we switch to a responsive setup, we see kind of a similar thing. Go away. There we go. This is the viewport, and you can probably guess the largest part here is the image in the background. And for desktop as well, it's the same thing, this big image in the background. At least that's what you would think. When we look at the page speed scores, it shows here largest contentful paint is almost 5 seconds. If we click on this little image here, it shows the area. So it's the image, the headline, the text, and the form. This page is built using Gutenberg, not Elementor, but the same principles apply in Elementor as well. If we go and edit this page and take out this image, just replace it with a color, just have it like this, and then save it. And then we go back out to the website, refresh, we'll see this image is gone, replaced by just a color, just a solid color blue, and this should load a whole lot faster. It turns out it doesn't. If we go to PageSpeed Insights, we now have it loading with just the color blue. Our LCP is still in the dumps, and our largest contentful paint is still the exact same as we have over here. You can see the image in the background there. If we click on this thumbnail, there's no image in the back. So the image isn't causing the problem in this case. It's this content right here. So what do? We try to move some stuff around. Maybe we don't need this form right up there. Maybe it's this section right here that's causing it. So you got to take things out, clear the cache, test the speed, and see what's actually causing the problem. And even though in this case it's not an image, I recommend, if we look here, next-gen image formats, all these images are loading as JPEGs. I recommend you install a plugin like CompressX, which will turn all these into AVIFs or WebP. In fact, we're going to install that right now. Where are we? Let's go to Plugins and Add New. And this would be the first thing you probably do in most cases. In the case of this website, it's weird because if we take the image out, it still loads the exact same speed. But on most websites, the image is the problem, specifically the hero image at the top of the page. And don't worry about this dangerous up here. This is just a temporary testing link, and I think that's why it's upset, because it's a crazy URL. So let's look up CompressX. There it is right here. It says it's made by CompressX. This is the same people behind WP Vivid, which is one of the best backup plugins for WordPress. And I've been using this on a couple of websites and it works really well. It says here it's untested with the current version of WordPress. That's unfortunate. You can use other plugins as well, like ShortPixel, to create AVIF images, but that's not free. CompressX, what I'm going to show you is totally free. With ShortPixel, you'll be using credits. If you have a free account, that's fine, but your free account runs out eventually. But if you want to check out ShortPixel, and you get a 50% bonus if you click through the link in the description down below. That link is exclusive to me and it is an affiliate link. So if you end up buying ShortPixel in the future or buying more credits at some point, I get a credit for that. It does not make it more expensive for you. Just an easy way to support me and the channel. But we're going to use CompressX because it's free. Let's install it. And if you're installing this on a live website, you might want to back up your site first, just in case something goes wrong. It's pretty rare, but sometimes it happens. There's a link in the description down below to a backup tutorial to help you with that. And then after it's installed, click on Activate. And now we have a new option right over here, CompressX. Let's go to Settings. Here it says we have some HTTP access rewrite rules issues going on. I'm just going to ignore that and assume it's going to be okay. We're going to convert new uploaded images as well. I'm going to choose output format for AVIF. I've found that that works a little bit better. Not always, but quite often it does. And what else do we want to do? We can move EXIF data. Maximum size and width, those are usually okay. Choose which thumbnail sizes to process, all those, that's okay. Those are the folders, that's okay. Everything looks good. The only thing I added was remove EXIF, and I chose AVIF as the output type. Compression level, I'm going to choose lossy. Lossless means there's almost no loss in quality. Lossy means there's a little bit of a loss in quality, but you can barely see it. Now I'm going to click on bulk processing right here. And this is what would probably solve a lot of the load time problems, or at least increase the load time for all of these, because they're going to be way smaller. So I'm just going to let this run and process all the images. And then we're going to rerun the PageSpeed Insights test and see if it fixes some things. It'll fix the Serve Next Gen formats probably want to address the LCP. We'll get back to that in a minute. But in most cases, the LCP is caused by a large image. And this process will help you fix that. That's why we're doing it here. Processing is done. 100% of images are output to AVIF format. If we go to the media library and we find our image, this guy right here, we see it's currently, or it's been converted to AVIF. The JPEG one still exists on the server, but the website's going to load the AVIF version, which is 83.5% smaller. So let's come out here and refresh this page. We should have our new, or our old image back in the background, but the AVIF version of it. Now that these images are loading in AVIF, it should greatly improve our PageSpeed Insights. But before we test PageSpeed again, because it's not going to make a huge difference in this case, because as we saw earlier, even without the image, we're still loading pretty slowly. So we're going to install W3 Total Cache, set some settings, and that should help improve our performance quite a bit. So let's go back into the account here, the dashboard, go to plugins and add plugin, look up W3, it should come up. There it is right there. 1 million active installs, compatible with the current version, lots of good reviews. If you're installing this on a live site, you might want to back up your site first just in case something goes wrong, just like we did earlier. Activate that once it's ready. Now we have a new menu option called Performance on the left. Go to the dashboard, and this is part of the setup wizard, which you can just skip or click next to go through all the steps. I'm going to make a full tutorial on W3 Total Cache. I have an older one already, but I want to make a new one for 2025, so watch out for that coming soon. I'm just going to skip this for now. And we're just going to go right to the specific things we want to address for our LCP and FCP. And without setting anything besides just the default settings, which currently are pretty minor, we see most things here disabled. We just have opcode cache and browser cache enabled. Let's just test it on PageSpeed Insights to see if there's any changes. When we're testing on PageSpeed Insights, you always have to wait a little bit because there's caching issues, either with your host, where you have to clear the cache to the host, or if you use Cloudflare, you got to clear through Cloudflare, or even PageSpeed Insights, I found caches older pages because it doesn't want to have, or doesn't want to rerun the same page every single time. If I test a page in short sequence, it'll just keep reloading the old version, even if I made updates. So there's no major changes at the moment. Still the same stats. So let's go in and apply some settings and see if that will change and help our LCP. As you can tell, a lot of this stuff is experimentation. So there's a couple things you can work on, the image size, and if that's on it, you work on caching, and you just got to try things. And not everything works on every site. Every site's different. Every site will have a different solution for FCP and LCP. Let's start under General Settings. And here we're going to enable page cache. Keep in mind it also takes time for the page cache to be created. So if we turn this on and then save and then go test right away, you're not going to have any changes because it takes a few minutes for the cache to be made, sometimes even longer. We're not going to go to the advanced settings in this case. I don't think we need to. Just stay on the basics. We are going to minify. Let's turn that on. Understand the risks. Sometimes minifying can break your site. That's basically what that said. If that happens, just uncheck this and then save again. That's already turned on. Opcode cache, database cache, let's turn that on. Turn on object cache. I understand. You can also turn these on one at a time. So if something does break, you know exactly which one it was. We're not going to enable a CDN at the moment. We're not going to lazy load images. Believe it or not, that hurts your LCP, doesn't fix it. If there's an option to lazy load all images but images above the fold, that would be great, but under basic settings, that's not there. So let's save that. That's about all the changes we're doing on this page. Let's go to page cache, and here we are caching post pages. It says here don't cache the front page, but we want to, so make sure that's unchecked. And that's all we're doing here. We can preload the cache, it's always smart. Cache purge policy, specify pages and feeds to purge when posts are created. That's fine. No changes there because we're not creating posts at the moment. And all the other stuff we'll leave as is. Let's save changes for that. Under database cache, I don't believe we're changing anything. Nope, leave that all as it is. Under object cache, I believe we're also not changing anything there for this case. No, leave that as it is. And browser cache, same thing. Not changing anything there. We'll leave all those as they are. We are going to click on empty caches because we have made some changes. So we're going to make sure we empty all the caches so they're rebuilt with our changes applied, which again, it takes a little bit. So if we start testing right away, you're not going to see the results you want. So all caches successfully emptied. I don't know if there's a cache status page that shows us statistics maybe. It'd be nice to know when pages are cached, specifically when the home page is cached, so that we can go and speed test it. Pro version for statistics. We can come out here though and not press forward. We can refresh this page. That might kickstart the caching process for this page. We're just going to give it a few minutes, and then we're going to page speed test again to see if any improvements have been realized with those few settings we set with W3 Total Cache. Something else that I noticed from the first page speed test we did is that if we go to here, we look at this thumbnail. There's the background image, of course, which we've been working on, but also in the description, it has this text here as being the largest element that's a problem. So I thought I'd try something much different. So I rebuilt this top area because what I noticed was this one here is built by the Spectra plugin, and it's an info box, and it has a whole bunch of stuff built into it, like image icons, content, which includes the header, there's separators, calls to action, presets, all in this little box. And you can't actually separate these. This is all one unit. So I rebuilt this as separate units. This is just a Gutenberg headline block set as an H1. This is a Gutenberg paragraph block. This is a Gutenberg button block. And then I just copied the exact same form from here, moved it up to here, got rid of the background color. Background color shouldn't affect anything, but took it out anyway. And so then our website now looks like this. It's got all the same content as the original, just looks a little different because we're trying to get faster page speeds. It doesn't really matter exactly how a site looks as long as it's fast. And if we can get it fast, then we can start adding some things back in, like this background image that didn't have an effect on the page speed to begin with, or the LCP anyway, and add stuff back in and then see how that works. So then I page speed tested this page right here. And this is the result we got here. We see the thumbnail and it's at 91. FCP is 7, that's unchanged. LCP is up to 20. Because, I'm pretty sure it's because I rebuilt that title block. That's the piece that was causing problems. And here we have largest contentful paint. The H1 is still causing a bit of an issue. You can't fix things 100%, unfortunately. But it's dropped down to second place. Now render blocking resources are the number one. You can address that with a plugin or some scripts. But we're up to 91 for mobile. And in anyone's books, that's pretty solid. You want to still address these things because there could be something else going on. I don't know why specifically the H1's being flagged. I don't know. Google PageSpeed Insights is weird. But also when you go and try to load this page on mobile, it's probably going to load faster than 3 seconds or 2.6 seconds. For some reason, it always goes extra slow on PageSpeed Insights. Not always, but sometimes. And if that didn't work for you, there's something else you can try, but it's specific to images again. And the image wasn't a problem in this case, but you can preload images. On this help page right here, if you look up preload, there's a couple things you can do. So the important one is the second one here, because a lot of hero images are background images with overlay, text overlay, color overlay, things like that. You want to add this attribute to the HTML for that image, and it's rel equals preload. This can be tricky to add, but there's some plugins that can help you. JavaScript can help you. Sometimes you can get right into the code for the background image, depending which page builder you're using, and you can add this. That often helps improve your LCP. And if this doesn't help, the next thing you can try is changing the fetch priority of an image. If you search for, on this help page here, I'll link to both these help pages in the description, but if we search for fetch priority high, if we add this attribute to the URL for an image, that can help with the LCP. And the LCP is most often caused by images. In the site we're working on here, it happened to be affected by that special block that Spectra added, but usually it's images. And so what you do with images, change them to avifs or WebP. You take the image out if you can, because that helps a lot. If you don't need the image there, just have a solid color or a gradient background. Or we change the rel attribute to preload, or we try changing the fetch priority to high, or even both those things at the same time. And that should help address your LCP issues if it's image related. If it's block related, try rebuilding the blocks in a different way, and that should help address the issues as well. Next up, click on the video that's on your screen right now, which is the third video in this series where we address CLS or content layout shift to help you further improve your PageSpeed Insight scores.